So this was sent to me by a TI that's an elected official in the United States, um, indicating that they are starting to expose some of these crimes. This one talks about an official in Harris County who is a public health director who provided sole contracts to IBM. And I won't play this entire clip. I'll insert the link to it in the description box. But this is an indicator it's happening, pertaining to, I believe, implants. The interesting history of IBM is they had chipped all of the imprisoned Jews during World War II, i.e., by tattooing them. So we're looking at, a multi-generational large legacy of a corporation. Isn't that something? Okay, I'm going to play this now. Listen up.
Dollar fine. The investigation into Ms. Robinson began after she was fired by the county administrator here in Harris County. And that was over some conflicting contracts and perhaps statements that were made to the county administrator. We don't have access to those records. What we can tell you is that upon Ms. Robinson's appointment to public health, she immediately began drawing on a business relationship with IBM, a company that she had been involved with in Sonoma Valley, California, and that had spearheaded a program out there for her called Access Health. That program was intended by our commissioners to be replicated here. And Ms. Robinson appears to have selected IBM early, before the process even.
They're stalling it. I don't have anything in the back here. Wow.
Purchasing division, headed by Dwight Dopsloff at the time. This contract was not allowed to be a sole source unbid contract. It was put up for request for proposals, known as RFP. Ms. Robinson, however, shared information she is charged with IBM prior to the issuance of that RFP. This is cheating. IBM became much more informed than any other competitor, giving them a tremendous advantage at what is nearly a $30 million contract. Now, the contract was dispensed in different ways. It began with a $45,000 expenditure for a, quote, garage think tank type meeting with IBM and members here of the Public Health Department and others. That was in 2021. In 2022, the Commissioners Court passed $7.7 million expenditure to benefit IBM. Now, what was IBM to do in this access program, and what is this? Well, it's a continuum of services concept where those who have been treated by Harris County as patients who have come through our jail, as somebody who has received any kind of service from the county, their information is now being compiled into a database and software support program designed by IBM to compile that information. Much of it is confidential. It's unclear what all is done with this information, who all has access to it, but we know that it is a tremendous amount of information on individuals served by Harris County. We know that according to their own website, they have served approximately 1,200 people. I think that number's been taken down, but for $30 million, it renders the cost of the program to about $19,000 per person who has been attributed to use the program. We don't know the identity of these people. We don't know what services have been provided. We just know that there was a tremendous investment by the Public Health Department with IBM to build this information sharing database. The services to be provided, many are already provided by Harris County: CPS services, probation services, health department, hospital services. So we're unclear what services are actually being provided, but we know that just the software program alone was almost $30 million. You know, um, while there are many questions about the Access program that our prosecutors are learning as this investigation continues, what we are certain about is that the lawful procurement process was diverted. We know that by passing information that Ms. Robinson was able to acquire only through her job as the public health director, by giving that information to IBM early, it gave them the winning advantage over all other competitors. Second closest competitor in that award process having bid $2.2 million, not nearly 30. We know that Ms. Robinson only sat on 2 RFP committees during her tenure as the public health director. They were for this contract and the DEMA contract. And before we get to questions on DEMA, what I will remind everyone is that this is an ongoing investigation. We also know that there were many things that could have been done for our Harris County residents for almost $30 million. And I think the public is left to question, what value did they receive from the Access program implemented here in Harris County by Ms. Robinson?
So I'm going to leave it at that. I think the gist is there. So we already know that the 2020 neurochip is an IBM document. We already know also that there's a chipping program for who's deemed as violent offenders, even those who are not convicted. So you can be accused, tortured, and chipped. If there's, if they manage to collect the date on the devices in my skull and in my face, the ones in my face will date to prior to me being 16 years old. I am now 52. And I'm wondering how many of these things in my skull, I mean, I know that they're neuromodulation chips now. I know that, one nurse looked at it and told me it's a STIMO receiver and sender. So that's why I get electrocuted. So I know that some of the research projects are with, I guess, Sunnybrook Hospital in Ontario, and one is with University of Toronto. And these are actual crimes against humanity of what has been stuck into my head. So the only way that any of the truths will come out is if there are brave people like this lady willing to do the right thing for their community members, whether they're convicts or not convicts, and discussing it. So when these crimes come out, because they're coming out, they're getting lit up like a light bulb, and this house of cards will fall. These are human exploitation and human trafficking systems for the devices that have been placed into us without informed consent. And they're absolutely horrific. Clearly done by military-related persons. I mean, what could I have done under the age of 16 that would have warranted this massive device in my face that appears to jut into my sinus cavity on the right side of my face? I guess we won't know until the IDs come back, right? Good old you and Cameron. Good old secrecy acts. Good old money making ventures and human slavery never ended.